Now, liberalism in action has some similarities to science in that, or so I maintain in the book, liberal organizations such as liberal democracy, which is just a democracy that guarantees human rights. One way to think of a liberal democracy is that a majority can vote pretty much anything as long as it doesn't infringe on individual rights. In a liberal democracy, you're constantly conducting experiments. Every time you elect a person to office, every time the legislature passes a bill, that represents a kind of experiment. We don't talk so much that way today, but the Founding Fathers did all the time. Thomas Jefferson used to, and Franklin and others, described the new republic as an experiment. Jefferson's second inaugural repeatedly mentions this, and one of the experiments he mentions, which is important to keep in mind these days when so many people are dismayed at the state of our news media, is that Jefferson correctly points out that during his first term of office, he was attacked as viciously in the press as anyone in all of known history. And yet, he says, here we are. The republic still stands, and I even got reelected. So the experiment's kind of working. That's the spirit of liberalism. The one thing is, though, that in science you have the idea, you have the experiment, and then you modify or reject the hypothesis. The problem we have often in many of our democracies is that you have the idea all right, you pass the law all right, but the evaluation process isn't always so good. So we end up clogged up with a lot of programs that maybe aren't working so well, but they're hard to get rid of because they have constituencies, and they put money in people's pockets. And there's nothing, I don't mean anything nefarious about that, but that's the part that if we recognize the scientific nature of liberal democracies, we ought to try to keep doing a better job of evaluating the results rather than just taking the first two steps. Now, both science and liberalism have in common that they are anti-authoritarian in character. That was the origins of liberalism, particularly, were highly anti-authoritarian. They're self-correcting systems. They're powerful, they're social, and they require maximizing intellectual resources. So they both are friends of education. John Locke wrote quite a lot about education because he realized that if you're going to expect ordinary people who had been systematically libeled by intellectuals for all of Western history, if you're going to actually entrust power to those folks, you have to have a decent system of public education.